okay, we're a bit more low tech today because, I'll tell you why, the remote thing that switches record and pause or end of record, whatever, the battery's going flat, so it's back to doing that, and when this is finished you'll see me do that, right? But, you know, it was never going to be a high ticket thing. There's a fabulous channel on here on YouTube called 12 Foot Chain, and I'm sure you all know of it, but if by any chance you don't, I would thoroughly recommend it. The guy's really, really good. And he's the thing I like best, is incredibly accurate. So basically he'll show you how to play a song, but it'll have all the bits that you either hear flubbed or they're not quite right or it doesn't quite sound right. It's very, very, very accurate. And he's got a video up at the moment which is on that perennial subject. How do you count in Zeppelin's rock and roll, right? And I've seen this discussed online, and you'll hear someone say, oh, for goodness sake, this is really basic, you know, by this stage you should know how to count in rock and roll. But if you're ever fortunate or misfortunate enough to ask, you know, to get up and play with a band and they say, do you want to get up and play Zepp's rock and roll? Because, you know, it is one of these songs that I think, you know, pretty much everybody knows. There's usually a couple of minutes of going, how do you guys count this in, right? Now, there's a fabulous Scottish drummer called Ted McKenna from the sensational Alex Harvey band, played with Rory Gallagher, played with Michael Schenker, sadly no longer with us. But I saw a video a while back of Ted McKenna, and this is like an absolute top flight drummer, and he was sitting in with a band, and you could hear him say, how do you guys count this in, you know? So there's always that little bit of dubiety. Now, the perceived wisdom, and this is in the, I had actually heard this one before, this is in the 12 Foot Chain thing, is if you imagine like a Chuck Berry intro, you know, right? If you imagine that kind of intro, or right? Imagine that, but don't go to the D chords coming on the A. That will bring you in. So if you can hum in your head Johnny Be Good or Carol by Chuck Berry, at the same, you start that at exactly the same time the drummer starts John Bonham's drum intro, which is probably one of the greatest drum intros ever, then we're cooking. So what I'd like to say is there is another way. And I'm not saying for 1 second that this way is better, it's just an alternative way. You know, if you think, well, I'm going to have to watch the drummer, and when he plays, as soon as he starts, I'm going to have to just hold in my head Johnny Be Good, so we'll have to imagine starting at exactly the same time. The other way to do it, and I've done this on stage many, many, many times, my friend Gary and I used to do this, kind of revolves around, if you're trying to get it in your head first, it revolves around you singing the drum intro to yourself, right? John Bonham's great drum intro. And if you're worried about looking stupid, then you know, switch off now. But if you don't really care and you want to get it right, then right, here's my way. As I say, I'm not saying it's better, it's just a different way. As Ted said, I'm not saying I'm the son of God, I'm saying I might be. Right? So, what you do is you sing John Bonham's intro. Now you know the intro, right? It won't sound anything like it with me singing it, but you know the intro, right? That goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you come in on 7, right? And I guarantee, I swear to you, if you do that, you'll come in to rock and roll bang on every time. Now, what we used to do is when Pat played the intro, which he played perfectly, Gary and I would wait for that bit, and we would mouth across the stage at each other, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. as I say, I promise you, you'll come in bang on every single time by doing that. So as long as you're willing, when you're learning it, get it in your head, and you try it with the record, put the record on, and as soon as the drum intro starts, just go and come in on 7, and I think you'll get it every single time. So that's how I would count it. And as I say, I'm not saying it's a better way, and the stuff on 12th chain is absolutely fantastic. I'm saying that's a alternative way.